Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brooklyn Initiative to Develop Geriatric Education and the Center of Excellence for Alzheimer's Disease virtual or telemedicine clinical experience educational programming. We wanted to record a brief video to introduce you to the platform that we use for telemedicine service. We use a platform called Doxy, D-O-X-Y. And we have a branded platform that we call CEAD, Center of Excellence for Alzheimer's Disease, CEAD Downstate, .doxy.me. And that would be the platform that you access to join the telemedicine service. You'll notice that I'm using the Chrome browser, and that should be the browser that you use to access Doxy. The other browsers sort of work most of the time, but we found that overall Chrome is the most reliable. As you enter the web address, you will find yourself on this splash page, and there will be two different ways that you make use of our platform. For trainees that are with us for a full month, whenever possible, we will be giving you your own provider login, and I'll show you how to use that in just a minute. For those of you that are here with us for only 1 to 2 weeks or sporadically, we may not have enough accounts available, unfortunately, for you to have your own provider login, but we will still do our best to make this an active learning experience for you. You will still lead evaluations. You just won't have your own login. If you are not leading an evaluation or you do not have your own account, you will be entering into Doxy as a patient, so to speak. You will choose the provider that you're working with using this drop-down menu. I'll use my own name, Dr. Reinhardt, for demonstration purposes, and click to enter room. As you enter the room, you'll then be asked to activate your camera. My camera won't work right now because I'm talking to you on Zoom to record this video. But you will type your name, check in, and find yourself on this semi-minimalistically designed waiting room. As a person in the waiting room, you will be able to see which providers are available over on the left-hand side, and that may include other students, your colleagues, etc. And you will then be able to be added to a patient encounter. For those of you without provider logins, the other trainees or providers will add you to the visit, where you then may lead an encounter or participate in different ways as appropriate. You will always be assigned to work with a provider when you're in our clinic, and always be assigned to a team of trainees who are working on a particular patient. And you should never feel uncomfortable or not know where you are. If you find that you are not being added to encounters appropriately, or concerned that you should be in a different encounter, always check back to Teams, Microsoft Teams, where all of our team coordination is happening. The orientation for that will be held separately when you arrive on site. Now, if you have a provider account and you'll be logging into see patients through that account, you're going to click up in the top right-hand corner here, click provider login. You'll use the login that you created as part of the onboarding process. You should have received an email to your Downstate account to complete the account setup process, and you'll just sign in. Once you sign in, you'll arrive again on this sort of minimalist splash page, and you'll see a few things, only a few of which are going to be of utility to you. One of those is over here on the left. You'll find the digital waiting room, where you'll be able to see all of the different patients that are waiting to join the clinic. Right now, we don't have any patients in the patient queue, because that would be, of course, a violation of privacy, but we do have staff and other trainees, and you can see how long other people have been in the waiting room. These are times from when they first arrived to the clinic. So you can always take a gander at how long a patient has been waiting and wonder why someone might have been waiting that long, and point it out to us if something's happening. And you'll see these 3 dots next to everyone's name. And these three dots are important because as you are going to start an encounter, you're always going to want to click them and make sure that that person is in New York. We are licensed providers in the state of New York. Most of us are not licensed to provide medical care in other states. And if you find that a patient is showing that their location is in a different state, it is certainly possible they could be using a VPN service, but it is most likely that they are located in another state. And you should draw that to our attention. Sometimes during the pandemic, we may be able to see that patient, but oftentimes it presents legal hurdles that we would have to consider before we start that encounter. You will notice that there are other settings available to you here in the waiting room, most of which will not be of interest to you for those of you that are with us for 2 to 4 weeks. If you have a particular question, you're welcome to ask any of us, and we're happy to go through other details of this platform. When you're ready to start an encounter, all you're going to do is hover over the name of the person you're going to start. In this case, we are going to add our social worker, all-star social worker Yi-Ting Cheng to the encounter. You're going to just hover over Start Call, click Start Call. The video will cycle through to make the connection. It will take a few moments, and then you'll have our social worker here. She probably can't hear me right now because my microphone is being captured by Zoom. And you'll see that her video is here. Our video is usually up here in the top right-hand corner. Again, my video is being used by Zoom because I can drag myself up there. And you will then be able to engage in the encounter. There are a few options over here on the left that you should be aware of and will make use of. Most of the time you'll be operating in teams, which means you'll need to add the other students or providers to the encounter if you are the leader. You're going to click on Group Call, and then you're going to add the other providers just by clicking their names to add them to the call. You can add up to 10 total participants to a call. In our experience, most patients and their caregivers' internet can handle about 5 to 6 people. And once we approach 10, there seems to be more and more difficulty. So do your best to keep it to around 5 to 6 people. If we need to move to more people, we may use a different platform. For that encounter, we may use Zoom. There are other options you'll notice over here, including photo capture. Photo capture won't work right now, again, because I'm using Zoom. My video camera is using Zoom, but for the most part, you should have very little utility for photo capture in our sessions. The only exceptions would be when there are new physical injuries, when you may be concerned about abuse or neglect. Or there may be things like pressure ulcers or other things that we need to capture. But before you capture that photo, you should discuss with your provider to see whether that capture is appropriate. Screen share may be used to provide education. We're frequently educating on various topics, and this can be a very useful feature. Teleconsent is not currently in use. We are using verbal consent for most of our appointments under pandemic guidelines. Should the public health emergency end, we will go back to collecting normal paper or teleconsents. File transfer should be of limited utility, and there is no instance in which you should be collecting payment from our patients. Our staff will handle that. So in general, Doxy has been a stalwart service for us. You will find that it works for most encounters. When things are not working well, however, we may turn to Zoom. And if Zoom is not working, we may turn to another platform called Doximity. Doximity also has a helpful feature, which is Doximity Dialer, which will allow you to call through our clinic's number instead of your own private number. I would ask you to bear in mind, as a few additional caveats, that when you are talking to our patients, please remember that most older adults, even though in the past year they have gotten used to using video for their appointments, they are still nervous about it. They get bewildered by things when they go wrong. It is our job to help them and assist them adapt to this new environment. Most of us are digital natives and our patients are not. So please be patient and please be willing to accommodate our very important patients and caregivers as you move through our service. If you're finding that there is a lot of difficulty, always talk to our staff and we will work with you to figure out what's happening and to fix it. Thank you so much for listening to me as I gave you this brief overview of the platform. If there's anything else that you have or questions you might have, please raise it to the staff at the end of this video or as you enter clinic for future discussions. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the clinic. I hope you're having a safe and healthy day and that you and your family, loved ones are all safe and healthy.